Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm just making a video. Pretty much I made a concern occur. Say this vehicle came in, crank no start, and you determine that the vehicle has no spark. So you're gonna start diving into checking your powers and your grounds and stuff like that. So here's the wiring diagram for the ignition coils. So here at the top, with Hyundais, your power circuit is always going to be on top on the wiring diagrams, and the section is going to be your control or your ground. So here you can see they all get fed off of the one fuse ignition coil 20 amp located in the PCB block. So we'll start off by checking pin 4. 2 of the coils is pink and 2 of the coils is orange. We should have battery voltage there. So you're going to set your meter to volts DC, which is a straight line. Cars are DC power, or direct current. And we're going to put your black lead on a good known ground. I always use the battery terminal. So coil 1 is going to be a pink wire. And then if you guys don't know, on a 4-cylinder, the cylinder closest to the timing chain or timing belt is always going to be cylinder number 1. Okay, so right off the bat, my wiring diagram, the colors are wrong, so I'll just look at my my pin out and go based off of that. So you can see the three-wire circuit. So pin 1 is my right pin. That's ground. Pin 2 is PCM control. So pin 4 is the one on the very left. So it should be pink, but it looks like a brown. But anyways, we're gonna check it because that's pin 4. So I'm gonna add this little extension because the pin from the meter is too thick, and you don't want to create a new problem by making the female pin too large. So I use a really thin wire extension. You can use a T-pin or whatever you find. You don't want to force it in the hole, just want to make contact with the pin. Okay, so there you can see we do have battery voltage to pin 4, which tells us that the fuse is good for the ignition coils. So we just made sure that this fuse is good. So in theory, all 4 of these, pin number 4 should have power. And then these coils are controlled by the PCM. So the PCM adds a ground to fire them off. And then they have their own ground as well, which is GC22. Located here, which would be right here on the timing chain cover. So that's what I would check next. And then to check your ground, there's a couple ways to go about it. So it is pin 1. So the one on the very right. And then you're gonna move your meter to the horseshoe or ohms. So you could use any ground when you're checking to see if the ground wire is touching ground. If you're not on the specific ground like GC22, then your resistance is going to be higher. But as long as you have some sort of resistance on the meter, then you know that the ground is touching at least. There could still be a high resistance issue in that wire. So right now, you can see there's an open circuit for the ground circuit in the coil. So that tells me that there's an issue with my ground side. So like I said, Right here on the diagram is GC22. You can see on the timing cover there's 2 grounds. It's gonna be this one here. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I did create a problem just to make some content to show you guys some basic diagnostic skills. So this is the GC22 here. This is your ignition coil ground. Okay, so now I'm checking exactly at the ground for the coil. So my resistance should be no more than 1 ohm here. 0.3 ohms is a perfect circuit. Anything less than 1 ohm is good. If you were to read like 2 ohms, then I would remove the ground and clean it to make sure that it's making good contact. So like I said, just for the presentation of the video, I did loosen this wire just to create a problem. So see, 133 ohms. That's high resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this ground down and show you what it should really look like. What a good reading would be. Freaking using these tools that I have at home, junk. You get spoiled with the good stuff at work. It's our own stuff. We don't get provided tools, but we use nothing but the best. Alright, so ground is tightened down. And it's still reading high resistance. And then this meter too is not the best meter out there, but you can see that now we do have continuity from the coil pin ground to the actual ground. Before it was an open circuit, so that's, if you would have found that, then I would have chased that. Say this ground was tightened down, then I would start peeling back the harness from here to whatever you're testing, and there's going to be a broken wire somewhere. So like I said, this meter does read high in resistance. Anything over 1 ohm when checking the integrity of a wire is a red flag, so that would require you to remove this ground and clean it with sandpaper and see if it fixes your issue. Another test that I've learned over the years is utilizing the test light to check for ground. So traditionally we use the test light by putting the clamp on the ground side to check for power, like so. So one thing I learned over the years is to check for ground, you put your clamp on the positive side, and anything that you touch that is grounded should light it up. Okay, so we're at pin 1. Put that there. So here you can see, that tells me that coil ground is grounded properly. So I'll loosen that ground again. So now I created a problem again, just to show you guys. So my test light is to positive, and here you can see when touching the ground wire to the coil, my test light does not turn on. So that tells me that that ground wire is missing at its destination. And I use this when I'm not at work. I bought this on Amazon. It's a Autel. It's a MaxiCheck MX 808S-TS. This thing works pretty good. It has a lot of, you could do actuation testing, You can turn on the check engine light, compressor, purge valve, disable injectors and coils, cooling fan, PWM, pulse width modulation. So you could do a lot of factory things. You could actuate the starter relay. Also has live data. It is TPMS capable. You can scan all the modules as well, from engine to body control module and everything, blind spot. So I highly recommend it if you guys are doing side jobs or just do a lot of stuff at home on your own. DIY guy. Thank you guys for watching.